about now? Can you hear me now? Papa, can you hear me? There's no camera attached, but it looks like I've got a little green dots happening now next to the mic icon. So I'll just hang for a second. Better now? Oh, good. G'day, Groover. We've got breaking news that Erin Patterson, the Beef Wellington chef that led to 3 deaths, has been arrested, but not charged yet. We'll have a look at that shortly. Let me get the article up. Finn and I are going to be live tonight doing batshit, and I'll be able to get everything set up before then. Fear not. But yes, a little bit. So police have arrested Erin Patterson regarding the mushroom poisoning deaths in Leongatha. I've just got to move this other article out of the way because there's a lot open on my computer right now. Yeah, so in short, she's been arrested. Gail Patterson, Don Patterson, and Heather Wilkinson all died from suspected mushroom poisoning, and police are interviewing Erin Patterson, who's always said she didn't intentionally poison her guests. But you'll remember back when we first looked at this, what time is batshit? Far more important. I'm not sure because of Finn's, like, daylight saving has thrown stuff, so I think it's possibly going to be later than usual, like 9:30 p.m., one of those sort of shows, possibly Australian Eastern Standard. But when I hear from Finn, I'll set the live up. But when he messaged me the last time, it was late and I had a really early start the next morning, so I ended up doing it the following night. Just keep an eye out for it on the channel Cement, because it depends on Finn and I haven't heard from him yet. But as soon as I know, I'll set something up. But back to this, because, yeah, I've got to get moving. I've been for a beautiful beach walk. It's a gorgeous day here. Had a really yummy breakfast down at Park Cafe and caught up with my friend Annabelle. We walked back along the beach together. It was very nice. Wasn't planning on doing a live, and then I heard about Erin, so I was like, better just do a quick one. But I would imagine Ian Wilkinson, the survivor of the meal outside of Erin, since he's been released from hospital, has probably given fairly detailed statements. But yeah, I'm sorry I can't give you an exact time. Cement, blame Finn. Contact his secretary. So yes, she's been arrested. She was arrested at her home this morning, shortly after 8 a.m. And the police have also searched her home using Australian Federal Police technology detector dogs. Gail and Don, there's photos here. So Ian Wilkinson on the left is the only survivor. That's his wife, Heather, and her sister, Gail, and Gail's husband, Don. So these 3 are the ones that all passed away. Ian was critically ill but recovered. And there's not much more to the story, really. I mean, Erin's always maintained she didn't intentionally poison her guests. She sent that statement. Remember we went through the statement back in August that got released to ABC, which is the website I'm on at the moment, stating she'd bought the mushrooms at a local supermarket and then had also bought some mushrooms at an Asian grocery store in Melbourne. Also, there was the claim about how she was hospitalised, and that was one of those ones that's sort of like, well, obviously evidence from the hospital is going to be fairly crucial, but there was a lot of speculating that she'd faked her symptoms or had, taken something to fake symptoms. But I think, whoever gives evidence regarding or has given statements from the hospital, that's going to be pretty critical. And also, from memory, it's been a long time since I've looked at my notes, but she went to the hospital and then left the hospital and then got rid of the food dehydrator and then went back to the hospital. And yes, she told reporters she was devastated by the loss of her relatives. I didn't do anything. I love them, she said. But now she's under arrest, not charged yet. Police are at the property probably still. Yeah, I think we've always thought Ian was going to be fairly crucial, and just the whole sort of timeline. And there was not a lot of information that came out, and the police actually put out a statement saying they weren't going to be putting a lot of information out, if you guys remember that as well. So yes, the plot thickens. The most recent article I read, which was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago now, pretty much intimated that nothing was likely to happen until next year. Like they were still waiting on lots of information and statements and results and things like that. So it's certainly been escalated. And I'll try to keep you guys up to date if she is charged. I'll just do a quick search and see if there's any new information. I mean, it's certainly a big news story. Every news outlet in Australia is on it. I think everyone's been waiting for something to happen. But will she be charged, I guess, is the next. Yeah, there's just pages and pages of Australian media covering it. It's pretty impressive, actually. There's pages of it. Has it broken around the world, though? All the American channels that are covering this story. Get onto it, Groovers. I mean, this is pretty new news. I mean, it's 10:45 a.m. now, Thursday in Australia. She was arrested this morning just after 8 a.m. But I can't find any articles that go into any more detail really than what. There's this one that I did see. I'll go back there. The Guardian, where are you? Yeah, they're pretty much just searching and no charges have been laid. It's going to be interviewed by the police. And then it just goes back to the talking about all the really weird elements of this story, the scraping the mushrooms off the meal that she gave to the kids because they don't like mushrooms, discussing the food hydrator, and then getting rid of it after her ex-husband, well, estranged husband, Simon, said, did you use that to poison them? And then remember, she said she got rid of it because she was scared about losing custody. But yeah, there's nothing really else to say at the moment. It's pretty much it. But I'll keep an eye on it, and if there's more updates as the day progresses, I'll certainly try to let you know. It may even just be a case of me popping something on the community page. If I'm unable to actually go live, I'll just keep you updated with a post on there and a link to any articles that are providing additional info. But there you have it. Is Flattery. Hi, how are you? Good to have you here. Let's have a look at what the AFP tech dogs do. To be honest, I haven't actually heard that term used before. I mean, we hear about cadaver dogs and how tech dogs have become a secret weapon in law. But are they talking like the drug detection dogs like we have at the airports? There's biosecurity detector dogs. There's child pornography detection dogs. Wow. They refer to them as poor enforcement. There's obviously the the explosive detection dogs. There's a lot of detection dogs. I wonder what they've got them in there for. Like, what would it be? Poisons that they're looking for? Let's have a look. I'll share this article. Let's have a read about them. Okay. How tech dogs have become a secret weapon in law enforcement. This article is a year old. But even when I just typed in AFP tech dogs, I got all those ones that I just mentioned, like all the different types of tech dogs, detector dogs that they've got. Four-legged crime fighters are the secret weapons in the law enforcement arsenal. So, yeah, a pack of 13 so-called tech dogs deployed around the country in the fight against organised crime, terrorism and child exploitation. But I'm wondering if it's like a scent kind of detector dog. Because this is more to do with tech. Looking at phones and laptops and all that sort of hidden technology. So that's not really appropriate. Well, I mean, I don't know. But it said detector dogs. So I don't know, maybe poison somewhere in the house, or what do you guys think? I mean, she was pretty bloody quick to get rid of the mushroom, or, the food dehydrator. So she's probably been, if there's other things floating around the house potentially that she's destroyed or, gotten rid of since then. I mean, this all happened back in July. And they keep updating this article that I was looking at before with you guys, but yeah, it is technology detector dogs. So based on what we just looked at, it's things like mobile phones and SIM cards and what else did it mention? Maybe she had a burner phone. So from micro SD cards to mobile phones, laptops, hard drives, anything that contains technology, these dogs will sniff it out. It's been you did. I mean, I tried to stick to the facts as best as I could because I try to do that on this channel, but there were so many questions. There still are, though. Because now there's sort of the search for the tech stuff's pretty interesting too. That's another turn in this story. I'll also be doing an update on Bruce Lerman too, for those of you that have been following the Bruce Lerman, Brittany Higgins saga with me. So there's another twist in that story, but I'll keep that separate. I'll do it tonight, either before or after Batshit. And I mean, you guys have the luxury of having a bit of fun with it. I mean, I was just sticking to the facts, and a lot of it was we just don't know because the police had closed down putting out much information. It was really only Erin putting that statement out that we even got some more info. Hi, Beth D. How are you? But I think critical evidence, which we've said from the start, is things like Ian Wilkinson's statement, the hospital records, because even when she took the beef Wellington to the hospital to be tested, so she may have had a second one that wasn't tainted, and there were so many questions. But on the facts that we had, there was very little. And I think it was pretty smart of the Australian police to, both the local cops looking into it and homicide and everyone else, I think they were very smart in not putting much information out. Seems to be the way of the world, because people are seeing what's happening around the world with social media and problems that can occur from irresponsible reporting on social media. Well, it's good to have you here, Beth D. Yeah, and look, we all try to give the benefit of the doubt. I mean, with my channel, I try to just be here are the facts, and we just don't know. But like I said to you guys, and I've said many times when we've covered cases, if we were all sitting around a dining room table drinking a few glasses of vino, then sure, many a speculation could take place. But as far as being on YouTube goes, just with this channel calling out irresponsible YouTubers that are interfering with the course of justice, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I know. AFP, not Vic Poll. Look, I don't know much about it at all. It's kind of intriguing, isn't it? It's flattery because, yeah, I mean, if they're sending in these tech dogs, they're basically, back to that article I was just scrolling through before, the way they can detect all this tech stuff is they're trained to sniff out the plastic that, like the plastic casings of technology items like SD cards and mobile phones and stuff, and they've got a fire retardant ability, and that's what they actually sniff out, is this particular plastic. Apparently, this unit in Canberra is one of the leading tech detection dog training programs in the world. So far, the AFP tech dogs have helped crack some of the country's biggest cases. Operation Ironside saw a massive swoop on international organised crime. The crooks were using encrypted communications to slip under the radar, but it seemed they couldn't slip under a cold, wet nose. And the dogs found 16 mobile phones, 24 USB sticks, and 26 other devices like SIM cards, tablets, cameras. We've been in the space we can detect explosives, cash, firearms, drugs for many years, and quite successfully. So this is a really novel capability. We've had SIM cards hidden in dashboards of cars. We've had USB sticks underneath the tracks of sliding mirrors. Wow. It doesn't matter if they're concealed or not, the dogs will find them. They do it for a play reward. If they find the tech, they get a ball to fetch. Cute. But yeah, they learn how to detect the scent of fire retardant plastic. They've also used them for child exploitation cases. In some cases, police have been able to identify, locate, and save child abuse victims. The idea for tech dogs originated in the US. Now American law enforcement agencies are coming to Australia to see how we do it. So there you go. Erin, if you hit a USB stick in the sliding bit bracket of your mirror, they're going to find it. Yeah, she's been arrested but not charged yet. She was arrested this morning. Let me put that article back up on the screen. I was just getting excited about all the tech dog stuff. Now I want to learn more about them. They sound really cool. And how cute. If they find something, they get a ball to play with. They play fetch with them. That's their reward. Bless. I've just had 5 days of Sunny being incredibly sick, but she's turned a corner, guys. But we were at the emergency vet on Friday night, and it's been a pretty full-on few days. She turned a corner on Monday night. I had to go to town for work on Tuesday, and I was comfortable going to work because I knew she'd turned the corner. She was on the improve, but it's pretty scary. Well, they're probably holding her while they're searching the house. And it says that they're interviewing her. So I'd imagine they're asking her to respond probably to Ian Wilkinson's statement, I would imagine, would be part of it. Obviously, if they find anything in the house, they'll be getting that looked at. Yeah, I'm glad she's better too. It was really stressful. How do you know we are? Drinking wine? Well, you should be if it's midday somewhere in the world, right? You drink that wine is flattery. Yeah, the clever hounds. It's kind of interesting. Also, yeah, poor enforcement. Good. But yeah, it was so stressful. And because she was so stressed, I had to try to not be stressed because, they pick up on our anxiety and stress as well. So I think giving her a day on her own here on Tuesday, and she had the last of the meds last night that had a bit of like the pain relief that had a bit of a sedative in it. So I knew that she'd spend most of the day sleeping, which she hadn't done since, well, Friday, really. It's never too late to arrest somebody if you've got the info. Look at Chris Dawson finally being charged and convicted of murdering his wife Lynette 40 years ago. No, nothing's been released at all. It's been really like there's not been much at all. I think, like I was saying, the last article that I read, which was probably 3-4 weeks ago, maybe more actually. Pardon me. In that article, they were saying that it was unlikely there'd be any further developments until the new year. So, yeah, I know, and I'm not going to be able to do it. Unfortunately, I've got an appointment that I need to go to. In fact, I need to start getting ready for that. I've got to wash my hair and, yeah, unfortunately, the live press conference, I won't be available. My appointment's not till 1:30, but it's like a 35-minute drive to where I've got to go. So it's a bit of a bummer, but I'll be listening to it in the car, and I suppose I could go live in the car and you guys could watch it and fill me in while I'm driving to my appointment. What do you reckon? Oh, no, I know what you're saying. Well, I mean, Liz, you already tried to remove dispose of the dehydrator. So I would imagine that she's probably been getting rid of other stuff as well. But, I mean, she'd also be mindful, I guess, that they'd be watching everything she put in the bin, or any other trips to the tip. And so she's probably like, I'm going to have to hide it somewhere in the house, perhaps. And that's why they've got the doggies in. The plot thickens. But maybe if I go live, will you be watching the press conference? Is Flattery? Where's timing? I need to reschedule it so I can watch it. But yeah, there's a lot of newspapers and TV stations all over Australia just going nuts. Even New Zealand's onto it now. The news is traveling quickly, but let me see. Well, I'd suggest any kind of, I mean, there might even be like a burner phone in the equation, or there might be research like on a laptop that she's saved onto a hard drive and hidden somewhere, or a USB stick. I mean, who knows? Yeah, the ditching the dehydrator was very strange. And especially to say she was worried she'd lose custody. I mean, if you ain't got nothing to hide, you know, you'd be like, yeah, test my dehydrator. And then she did the whole, here, test the beef Wellington. They allegedly took it to the hospital. But again, who was it in the chat that suggested there might have been a second beef Wellington? What genius came up with that suggestion? Because it is genius. Oh, it's just broken in the UK. Yeah, so they've got the Australian Federal Police tech detector dogs in. Poor enforcement has been brought in, and we've all just learned a little bit about poor enforcement. Which is really interesting. That's why I love looking at these cases. You learn new stuff all the time. Somebody smart suggested there may have been a second beef Wellington in the equation as well. But even the going to the hospital, then leaving, going home, removing, destroying, dumping the dehydrator, and then going back to the hospital, and like some of you sleuthies came up with some really logical explanations for a lot of that stuff. And I can't remember whose article it was we looked at, but there was someone who was pretty scathing of her statement, saying it's doing more harm than good, especially because there were so many different contradictions. And yeah, she's been arrested but not charged. Animal, how you doing? Good to see you. But I would say that Ian Wilkinson would be a key witness, obviously. He's definitely would have had an opportunity to speak to the cops. I would imagine the ex-husband, the estranged husband, has probably given a lot of information as well. I mean, they would have had things like the hospital records back in July, you know, that there's a lot of stuff that they could have been fact-checking really early on. But because the cops have kept it all very, very close to their chest and haven't really put a lot of information out there. Well, she took some beef Wellington to the hospital and suggested that they test it. But there was someone in the chat who suggested that there could have been 2 beef Wellingtons, and she could have plated up for the 4 guests, 3 of whom are now deceased, from one of the beef Wellingtons, and then the other one, the not toxic one, is the one that she ate a piece of, and also the one that she gave to her kids, and possibly also the one that got taken to the hospital. It was a good theory. Whoever came up with it, credit to you. Yeah, and then there was also discussion about that too, about her feigning sort of food poisoning symptoms by taking something and rocking up to the hospital. she's arrested. I'm not surprised, though. She would have been packing herself when Ian lived. Definitely, if she's guilty of this. She did get a lawyer really early on. Quite a few of the articles that are announcing the arrest actually have a photo of her when she went to Melbourne and got a lawyer involved. It was even reported that she'd been to see the lawyer in Melbourne. That was ages ago. Because also the statement would have been definitely, well, you would have thought the lawyer would have approved the statement before it was released, but there was even discussion in our chats about that, you know, probably not the greatest or smartest lawyer because of some of the stuff that was in it. But yeah, there's been a mystery for sure, but patience. And this is why the YouTube community that are so quick to, like, I mean, I keep going back to Kylie Rodney, but so quick to point the finger, or even the Idaho 4 and Jack, you know, they just locate someone or identify someone and they target them as the potential a suspect offender, but not this particular case, because, I mean, really, there's not a lot of options with this one. It was either a terrible accident or it was deliberate, really. There's no other way to look at this particular case. But they're not patient enough for the actual process. Even just getting forensic results back and stuff like that can take weeks, if not months. Yeah, but then she was also criticised for that. I mean, she was criticised for speaking to the media, but then she was criticised when she didn't. But nobody is obligated to respond to the media or say anything to them. But if you don't, if you just zip your lips and just walk into your house and shut the door, then people on YouTube go ballistic. And if you do say something, then we're all suddenly body language experts, analysing every twitch. But it was interesting. I mean, there are a lot of different people that analysed her that have the, I guess, skills to do it, but very divided. There were quite a few that saw a lot of suspicious activity and behaviour, and then there were others that said there was nothing weird about her behaviour. You animal. I'll put you in the naughty corner. Random thought. I wonder if AFP dogs detect SIM cards if someone swallows one. I reckon they would. It says, what did that article say? It's like wherever they're hidden. But I don't know about it in someone's stomach, but they might detect the scent of the fire retardant plastic around the person's mouth, and then they might have to hold the person until they do a poop. The appointment I've got at 1:30, she's got a puppy, and she just messaged me and said, I'm giving you a choice, Puppy George present, or would you prefer not today? He's naughty, biting stage, so no pressure. So I've messaged back, Puppy George, please. Bring it on. I want the biting puppy. In fact, I'll stop and get George a little present. Yeah, you are damned if you do or don't, definitely. You take multivitamins bigger than micro SD cards. I can't take the really big ones that are dry coated because they just get stuck. And even if I break them in half, they still get stuck in my throat. Yeah, and look, I mean, you guys are free to do that, obviously. And yeah, again, if we were all sitting around the dining room table with a bottle of red, sure. It's a bit limiting for me in terms of I can't call out channels for speculating beyond the most sort of unrealistic and unreasonable speculations. I can't criticize them and then do it myself, but you guys are always bouncing around ideas and stuff, and I find it really interesting, and I can't really form an opinion if I'm just doing the facts. I mean, unless the facts are pointing at absolute guilt, I'd just give you guys the information that we've got and see what happens. Because, innocent until proven guilty is kind of central to the job that I do. But as information comes out, opinions might form, but there's been contradictions and all sorts of stuff with this, but there's also been very limited factual evidentiary stuff, which the cops have obviously got. But I've represented people that have come into my office and I've looked at them and gone, ooh, I'm not sure about you and your story. And then as all the evidence comes together, more and more comes in. It's like, my God, these people are completely innocent of this. We've got to get them off these charges. And then I've had other people that have come in and have provided a lot of information pointing to innocence who then have been found guilty. We don't have all the facts, no. Not once in a blue moon. I often have a hinky meter that spins with people, but I didn't with her. I don't think my hinky meter spins until I've got enough factual information to then ignite the hinky meter spin. But there you have it. I'm going to have to get a move on. I've got a date with Puppy George. And I want to stop at the pet supply and get Puppy George these rusks. My friend Laura has got a little puppy Chester, and they're meat. They're like a really, really, really hard jerky sort of, and they're kind of in a twist, almost like a braid, I guess. Best thing ever for Chester because he's in the chewy bitey phase as well. So I'm going to stop and get Puppy George one of those on my way in. But, yeah, there you have it, guys. There is a press conference at 1 p.m. I might not go live. I was going to go live, and if anyone was watching it, they could keep me updated. I'll just have to – or maybe I'll go live after my appointment. So I've got so much to do this afternoon. Look, we'll see. I'll be back at some point, and then also let's keep an eye out too for when I hear from Finn about what time batshit is tonight. It's either going to be 8:30 or 9:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And until next time, just keep being your beautiful selves. All right. Where am I going? Give me a moment. Yeah, just stay beautiful because you are. I mean it. Anybody want a peanut? The Daily Mail is every second bloody article when I just Googled before. They don't muck around. I'm getting stuck over on YouTube. But yeah, catch you all again very soon.